Making these videos is actually a very humbling experience. You look at them and you realize that you're uglier than even you thought you were. Anyhow, I appreciate your giving me just a few minutes to speak to you remotely. I trust that everybody had a good night's sleep or a good drive over to Rochester this morning. One of the reasons that I'm not with you today is that the church that I'm serving, the Layton Avenue Church in Greenfield, is doing something very unique for them and for me. We are hosting this year's Milwaukee Harley Riders Group, Harley Operators Group it's called, or HOG. We are hosting their annual Blessing of the Bikes. Now, normally I don't get into praying over and certainly not blessing inanimate objects like motorcycles, but today is going to be a little different. It's going to be a witnessing opportunity for us. We're expecting anywhere from 60 to 100 plus bikers to be on our parking lot this morning by about 8:45. And a number of lay people in our church are going to be working with me to say some personal prayers for each of these people. And we have a tract that we're going to give them. We have a little gift that we're going to give them as well. And I want to take this opportunity to express my thanks to David Sundin, who is quite the Harley man himself and who has done these kinds of things and who gave me some very good advice on what we could do. Now, I want to say something about the Lakeland Association. As some of you may know, I have submitted my resignation and it is effective at the end of this month. Within a couple of months, I will have been in the Minnesota-Wisconsin Convention for 15 years. And looking over my shoulder, it occurred to me the other day that next year at this time, I will have been serving in non-traditional areas for Southern Baptists for about 30 years, and in one way or another relating to the Home Mission Board and the North American Mission Board. For many, many years, that organization has been very supportive and encouraging. That this has been true both when I was pastor of a church out there and was involved in some church planting efforts, when I was involved in the Baptist Convention of New York in leadership there. We were always grateful for the Home Mission Board's support. And in my tenure here at the Lakeland Association, I've been very pleased with what the North American Mission Board has done and how they have supported us until about 12 months ago. And I'm going to try to measure my words very carefully, but I would be dishonest if I told you that I thought everything was wonderful with the North American Mission Board and my relationship with the board. There's a sense in which my relationship with them is complicated. And I say that because of my own frustration at what seems to be an inability on their part, at this time at least, to genuinely recognize the value of associationalism. I know that they have taken some steps of action and they have a very good staff person who is charged with the responsibility of dealing with associations. But consider this: after I resign, when the Lakeland Association calls a church planter catalyst, whereas I was grandfathered in to be allowed to undertake some responsibilities related to the association, responsibilities that anybody who has served in an environment like this knows to be important and pressing, consulting with churches, assisting them in dealing with various issues and problems, and seeking to work with the state convention, people like Clint Calvert to provide training, etc. However, when a new church planter catalyst comes to the territory of the Lakeland Association, his assignment will be exclusively church planting. And the funding that the Minnesota-Wisconsin Convention will supply, along with the funding from NAM, will be devoted to supporting that person. We've been told that effective very soon, within a few months, we will not be receiving any more office support from NAM, and the same thing holds true for the Minnesota-Wisconsin Convention. This despite the fact that we see in the media, in the Baptist press media at least, that funds are coming our way, they're being redirected our way, and I hope that in the future that will be true. Right now it is not true. And so I continue to worry about the future of associationalism, and I'm very hopeful that here in the Lakeland Association, that with the leadership that we have in place in some of our churches and some of our very strong lay leadership, that we will find a way both to be supportive of a church planter catalyst and also for someone who will do the essential ministry of the association. Now I'll get off my soapbox for a moment and just say a couple of things about what is transpiring here. Very grateful that just last week I had an opportunity to work with a couple of young African American pastors, Greg Gross and Ron Ewell, who are new church planters. They've planted new congregations within the last 4 or 5 months, and Pastor Roy Hopgood and I have worked with them, and I hope to be able to connect them to some funding and to some support for their church plants, and so we're grateful for that. We're also grateful that within a few days we're going to have a transformation conference being held at the Ephesians Church in Milwaukee. This is something that Clint Calvert worked with Pastor Hopgood in coordinating, and our office was facilitated in that as well. And then, whereas before our Kingdom Growth Conference has always been right about now, it's been moved to September. And it's going to be a little different this year because of NAM's emphasis upon church planting and our need here to emphasize church planting more, and we certainly need to emphasize it more. We're going to have that kind of emphasis, an evangelism emphasis, an outreach emphasis, and more than ever before, we're going to seek to make this conference all-inclusive. It has been, the invitation has always been extended to beyond African American congregations, but those primarily have been the congregations that have been supportive and interested in the ministry of the conference up to this point. We've been doing it since 1998, but we want to expand that, and we're hoping we'll be successful in doing that. We also want it to be a time to rally the support of the churches in the Lakeland Association. We want it to be a time of revival and renewal and recommitment. Of course, the invitation is extended beyond the Lakeland Association, but we want it to be especially meaningful to our churches. Now, having said that, I want to express my profound appreciation for those in leadership in our state convention. I consider myself to be very blessed to have served in an environment that's very supportive, from Bill Tinsley to Leo Endel. I've begun to name people now: Steve Melvin. I don't want to leave anybody out: Clint Calvert, Norman Wallace, David Sundin, and of course Leah and Karen, and Julie now, and others. And I'm sure that I'm going to leave out someone, and for that I apologize. But I appreciate the wonderful support that they have provided over the years, and the partnership that we've had with them. It's been a pleasure to have served in this environment. My calling continues to be to serve in a non-traditional area for Southern Baptists, and I'm looking forward to devoting my full-time efforts at the Layton Avenue Church, and I'll look forward to continuing to see you at various gatherings. So God bless you, and thank you for listening. And we'll see you soon, I trust. God bless you.